Hello, my name's Bev and I'm the author of the book Please Eat, A Mother's Struggle to Free Her Teenage Son from Anorexia, which describes our family's battle with the deadly eating disorder, anorexia nervosa, which my teenage son Ben developed back in 2009 when he was just 15 years old. This post is from the 13th of October 2011 and it's called Upper Sixth Form Parents' Evening Last Night. 2 years ago, Ben and I went to the Fifth Form Parents' Evening. It wasn't brilliant. Ben had been away from school for quite a while, unable to face anyone or anything, let alone a school full of teenagers. So going along to the 2009 Parents' Evening 2 years ago was a bit of a challenge for both of us. 2 years ago, I was painfully aware of Ben's dramatic physical transformation since many of these parents or their children last saw Ben. The parents I knew tended to be either those of Ben's friends or the parents I used to chat with on the rugby field touchline every Saturday morning. Ben used to play number 3 in the rugby lineup and later number 8. Both forward positions usually given to big, strapping lads, which is exactly what Ben was back then. So the difference at Parents' Evening 2 years ago would have been acute. Then, of course, there was the fact that Ben was obviously avoiding everyone's glances or approaches as he skulked around the assembly hall, looking as miserable as sin and quite ill. This from a solid boy that was known for hurtling down the rugby pitch like a steamroller, ball in hand, and flinging himself on the grass, placing the rugby ball over the touchline. Last night at the 2011 Parents' Evening, although Ben is still very thin, the difference wasn't so acute. Ben's mood was better and his social interaction, although not great, was better. He looked much healthier, and instead of being worried, his teachers were delighted with his progress on every level. The rugby contingent was there again, of course, and because Ben hasn't had any contact with any of them since he quit rugby in autumn 2009, I was still acutely aware of the contrast, especially as these huge boys are now virtually fully grown men. But hey, let's not look back with regret on what might have been. Ben said he never liked playing rugby anyway. And that's the end of that post. That Parents' Evening back in 2009 was a bit of a challenge for both of us, to say the least, for Ben and for me, and of course for Ben's dad, who was there too. And the way that the other parents would glance over in our direction with horror. There was such a massive difference between what Ben had been, the big burly rugby player, number 3 in the team, position given to the biggest, toughest, strongest boys, and now where he looked like a starved waif. The glances, the horrified glances from other parents. Not a lot else to say about that really, apart from just, I've done it myself, where you stare at people or you glance over at people in horror if there's been a massive transformation. Let's just try not to do that, hey? And especially not to look with pity or anything like that, because I know Ben hated anything that added up to pity or anything like that. Thank you for listening. You'll find a link below to my blog, and you'll also find a link to my website where you can download free PDFs of my blog, and also a link to Amazon where you can buy a copy of my book.